suppose the high school age is where you sort of realise how normal mild racism in society is.
Matt Tay got racially abused the other day, accidentally.
Oh, get over it, you sausage.
You're not a fat skinhead meat boy, you know, that's like supports Celtic, you know what I mean? Like,
Luke Smith says
there's a big difference. You come out with having made love. With love comes a few issues, and by issues I do mean STIs.
Can I just say, you introduced this with the perfect time for you to come in here. Hello and welcome to the Vocals from the Locals podcast. I'm your host, Callum, and I'm here with my co-host, Matche.
Oh, no.
You right, boys?
Liam.
Hello, welcome.
James.
Good evening.
And Luke Smith.
Hello, everybody.
So, how's everyone been this week then?
Yeah, not too bad.
Fantastic.
Too bad, could be worse.
Different from last week, is it?
Yeah.
Not really, mate,
Oh.
not really.
No one's
It's
got
a
much
different
to do,
day and all
is
that, innit?
They all seem to merge together, let's be honest.
The time's going fast, innit?
Yeah,
trust me.
it's looking up though. Have you seen a thingy announcement on Sunday?
Nothing's going to be announced.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either.
I just want to be
No.
able to see a couple of head, mate. Like, go see, like, even if it's just go see someone from your family or something. What knows?
Brad the barber.
Murad, my mate, Murad doing his little
I
kitchen
reckon
trims.
that's what they'll do.
A
I reckon
plug.
they'll allow small family gatherings and things like that. I reckon that's something will change.
But that's what I
Yeah.
mean, I'd be game for that, mate.
No,
Obviously,
no
the
mates or
brothers and all that.
anyone like outside your
danger.
family.
I've been getting a bit of, I don't know, all I've been doing is trying to get a few things done every day, and the rest of the time can go right on. Like, for example, every day I go for a walk, I watch an episode of Game of Thrones, which I know isn't a productive thing, but it gives me consistency. And
Yeah, you
then-
mentioned that you started it last week, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm near the end of the first
Yeah.
season now.
Oh,
I'm
fair
trying
play
to
to you.
I'm trying to limit myself to one episode a day, max two, or else it's the sort of thing you can just go down a hole with for 12 hours and no one will
Yeah.
hear from you.
Oh, mate, I've been doing that with friends, me.
Oh,
well,
that's so-
I've never got the
show.
friends thing, me, you know. I've never got
I
that.
love it.
Awful comedy.
I think it's
How,
quality.
how I Met
It's-
Your Mother is miles better.
They're not that
Um,
much different. They're pretty much the same program. But
How many
what I'd
movies
say
go-
is, it's Friends isn't the best program ever, but it's like junk food TV, and it's just something you can sit and watch in your underwear
Oh,
for like 8
It's
hours.
addictive, mate. It's
Yeah,
addictive.
it is.
On the
The only
topic
thing
of
I like about Friends is Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, mate, she's
I prefer Monica.
Agreed.
Me,
filth.
Dark Horse, Courtney Cox. I
Really?
prefer.
Monica's alright, but
fair enough, James. Each to their own. What on
Say
the
it,
topic
right.
of Netflix,
Right,
though? On the topic of Netflix, is it bad that I've introduced my 12-year-old brother to come fly with me?
not at all, mate.
I've never watched it.
What
I just
program
can't
that
No, I
is.
suppose the high school age is where you sort of realise how normal mild racism in society is. So yeah, it's probably the right age.
Oh, mate.
Oh,
I'd be
speak
saying
for
things
yourself.
like that.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, mate.
Disclaimer.
No, but you're telling me they could have got. You're telling me they could have got away with "Come Fly with Me" now if they made
No,
it.
Well,
they
they
couldn't.
should be able to because it's comedy.
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
it wouldn't happen.
Ooh.
What were you
it's
going to say,
pushing it.
Luke? You had something ready.
No, you went.
He bottled it, forgot the name of our own
Bottled it.
podcast.
Oh, he's forgot.
I was trying to do the old disclaimer and a couple posh words after it, make it sound thingy, but
Just to
not got the brain
reiterate from the
space.
start that the views of James are not the views of the rest of the podcast.
See, that's what I wanted to say, but it just weren't. You weren't.
Do you
that
not
easy.
share the view that mild racism is everywhere?
James, you
Not
bottled it
really.
then.
Not mild racism, extreme racism in some cases.
That's not everywhere. That's
It's just
my
a
point.
society. It's just a society that we live in, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my point. But you don't realise that until you reach age about 12.
I think racism is a very slippery slope on this podcast. So I think we should stay away from there. And
We're all
what else have we been doing?
we're all white lads. We can't really comment.
Nah. Well, listen, we've got a token immigrant. We're all fine.
Matt Tay got racially abused the other day, accidentally, mate.
Oh, get
okay.
over it, you sausage. Snowflake!
It was. No, I don't know. It was just weird. It was really weird. That was the first time I've ever got anything like that.
I've
Yeah.
told you to do the same thing a couple of times. It's all right.
That's what I mean. But That's what I mean. But you mean it as a joke. Do you know what I mean?
Does it?
You know,
Sometimes.
That's fine then.
you're not.
There, Matt said.
Oh,
Callum, you're not a fat skinhead meat boy. You know that's like supports Celtic. You know what I mean? Like
Luke Smith stays
there's a
quiet.
big difference.
We are the
You know, there's a big difference. But you know, it is what it is. I'm not too bothered.
Speaking of that group chat match here that you got racially abused in,
Oh yeah,
did you see that?
Facebook group.
I was crying at one of them posts. Someone just put a post in saying cigarettes after sex ? And someone replied saying, "Nah, joints after sex."
Oh
mate.
yeah, I put that on Twitter. Yeah, that was
Is that where they've seen that? Is that you, Matt?
yeah. It was that kid. He looked about.
Such a year 10
about 13.
thing to comment on.
Nah,
back
joints
me on
after
that.
sex. Joints after sex, not cigarettes.
It's just the most
never me.
cringy trying to look hard statement you can make.
To be fair, the lad was about 13, 14. And that, you know, coming into the world, he's trying to pull his birds.
Mate,
Is he still an under 18s group, or have you not answers anymore?
No, it's a funny story. The administrator turned 18, so she had to remove the under 18.
Oh, shot herself in the foot there, hasn't she?
Wasn't it?
One thing I'd like to say.
You're playing with fire calling a group chat under 18s, aren't you?
Yeah. You're opening yourself up to the elements of the wider world.
I'm not saying it's going to trap
chat.
Montes, but it's not going to drive it away, is it?
It trapped Liam.
Right, has anyone
Strictly moving on.
Has anyone heard the new single by Fontaines DC? What do we all think?
I listened to it once and it was a bit groovy, but I've not had it on since. So
the more I listened to it, the first time I listened to it, I was like, I don't know, I didn't think much of it. Then I listened to it like 3 times, and then I pre-ordered the album because it was a coloured record.
Happens to the best of us all.
We've all been there.
Just to reiterate to everyone, this is not record of the week.
No.
We've got a mild record lined up.
Stay tuned if you do want to hear that reviewed when it comes out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll hop onto that.
Hop on the bandwagon. Go on, that what you say.
Oh no, I just wanted to mention obviously we've not been able to do a new album every single week. You know, we've not been able to do current as we don't have a new album out every week necessarily. So what we've decided to do is obviously we did Kasabian for Crying Out Loud last week, which was my personal choice, and this week we've let Callum decide on which album we should review. So I'd like to pass it over to Callum, if that's all right.
I thought I'd change it up a little bit to my taste in music. So I've gone back to the 60s, and it's Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Finish your sentence. Bringing it all back home.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very big change from what we've had in it. We've had Jerry Cinnamon, brand new album. We've had Kasabian album from 2017. We've had The Strokes, brand new album. So we've gone for an album from 1965. Most of the people in this call's parents probably weren't even born then, were they?
Mine definitely weren't.
When was mine born?
My
2 years before it. 2 years before it, mine were, I think, 1963.
Mine's same time.
63? Whoa.
My mum and dad, I think so, yeah.
1980, Jesus.
54, my mum and dad now.
Oh,
right?
Luke, you don't reveal the age of a lady.
Well, it's my mum and dad. So my dad's 54 and my mum's the same age.
So, what was everyone's initial thoughts of the album? I know, James, if we're talking initial thoughts, James, you and Callum both already have it on record, don't you?
Yep.
To be fair, my dad bought it me, I want to say about 6 months ago, and I didn't listen to it for 4 months. I just never got around to it. And I don't know, I listened to it again today. I've listened to it maybe 4 times ever. And the main thing I thought is, this sounds a lot like Jake Bugg, which is sort of the reverse way to look at it. I should be thinking Jake Bugg sounds a lot like Bob Dylan. Because he's like a better version. So, yeah, he's got like, I don't know, you don't see many people who play acoustic guitar. It's a hard instrument to stand out on. everyone sounds the same on it, but Bob Dylan has a very unique style on it. And I think no one has ever had their songs covered by so many people. Like, it's not on this album, obviously, but All Along the Watchtower is famous. But there's a song on this album called Maggie's Farm, which I first heard through a cover album called Renegades by Rage Against the Machine. They covered that song.
Oh, they covered Maggie's Farm?
Yeah, they did.
I thought that was
really
good. That was one of my...
Loads of people have covered him. Even Adele's covered him, you know.
Yeah.
She's looking lang nowadays.
Someone had to tell them. Someone had
on
to
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my favourite songs, I liked Mr. Tambourine Man and Gates of Eden and Subterranean Homesick Blues.
Yeah, it's
They
quality
were all
song.
good. What I'd say,
James, could you repeat subterranean? How did you say that?
Subterranean Homesick Blues.
Oh,
I'm none of this. I'm none of this in my podcast. And then...
Oh, it's your podcast.
Whoa, wait a minute.
no chance. Not a chance.
If you check who the author is on Spotify.com, you would know.
If you check who the author is, it says everyone actually.
Oh, James made
Well-
something like that, mate.
All right. We'll see about this.
You're only here because you've got good enough software to record it.
All right. I'll stop writing the episodes and then we'll see what happens. If you want to go
got a
down
fair
this
point.
route. If you want
He's
to
got
go
a
down
fair
Not
this
point.
route.
writing the episodes that he volunteered to write in the first place.
Anyway, back onto the album. James, what's your
Back on my
what's your
verdict.
score out of 10?
Now, I think they are good songs, but it's just not necessarily right up my street. Now, I can appreciate how influential and important Bob Dylan is, and they are good songs, and he's a talented musician, so I'm going to give it an 8.5,
8.5.
which is strong, but it's not like, for me, it's not top, which I know most people is regarding as.
I mean, obviously, you've given that a very strong rating there.
Yeah, it is good.
Callum, you chose the album. We know you're massive on Bob Dylan. What did you think of it?
Personally, I think it's probably one of the greatest albums that's ever been written.
Bold
Bob
statement.
Dylan.
I mean, I didn't expect anything less though from that statement from Collins.
Bob Dylan as a whole is probably one of my favourite artists, if not my favourite artist. I think his politically charged music just shows exactly how America was at that time. And for him to paint pictures like he does with his lyrics just proves why he won a Nobel Prize for Literature.
Oh, did he?
So,
You won
Yeah,
the
there you
Nobel
go.
Prize?
Starter in
Yeah.
the corner. Yeah, man.
yeah, he won Nobel Prize for Literature. One of two musicians to do it, I think.
That's a sick achievement. Who was the other?
Now you've said that, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up. So carry on. I'll get back to you in 5 minutes.
I think it's one of two. So I love all his music, but this album is just my favourite, I think, out of all of them.
Out of all of his?
Yeah, so for my top tracks, I like every single song, but I'm going to go for Subterranean Homesick Blues, Maggie's Farm, Gates of Eden, and Mr. Tambourine Man.
They're the exact ones I said.
Pretty much, yeah. They're all top quality
Good
songs.
taste, my friend.
And I give the album a 9.8.
Now we're getting specific.
I didn't realise we could go between the zeros and the 0.5s. I thought they were the rounding points, but if
Well,
we're going
Not between 0 and
Mad
0.5.
bastards, such as see, James.
no, but it's between 10.0 and 9.5, Liam. I thought it was to the nearest half.
it's more perfect than 9.5, so
But not
I
10.
just
Why
I
is it
couldn't
not
give it a
10?
9.5. It's not a 10 because I think there are better albums out there that are perfect. But it's pretty much bang
Definitely
on.
maybe says hello. Anyway,
Every song's good, but there's no mega track on it, is there?
Well, there's a lot of songs there that have stood the test of time. That are massive tunes now still.
Yeah,
So
that's why it's a 9.8, but there's no...
exactly. There's no massive tunes,
Yeah.
but I think for me personally, they're all pretty mega.
Yeah, the themes
from
covered universal.
Yeah.
So every generation just gets back into it.
Exactly. I've been a massive Bob Dylan fan for not very long, to be fair, but just massive impact.
I'd just like to come back to the podcast. You said there was only 2 people ever to win the Nobel Prize for Literature, like songwriter.
Yeah, songwriters. Yeah.
Right. And so Bob Dylan was the second one. The first one was in 1913 to an Indian poet called Rabindranath Tagore.
Yes.
Right.
So it's not what I was expecting, if anyone, but you know.
So there has only been 2.
Yeah, there's only been 2. Bob Dylan was the
Yes,
second
Calvin.
one.
That was what he's
See,
talking
look at
about.
me. I'm not like Matchy. I pull out good facts, real facts.
Funny guy.
Anyway,
Speaking of,
that's the.
go on, Matchy.
I mean, I was
Matchy.
going to say that. I was going to say that's still to come, but if we want to do Polar like Porkies now, I'm more than happy to.
No,
leave it.
Oh,
Got to keep people waiting.
Keep them interested.
Yeah.
All right, fair
Tune
enough.
into
I was going to say
half an hour down the line for Matty's Polish Pokies session.
Speaking of Matchy, what do you think of the album?
Personally, when Callum mentioned the album, I've obviously listened to it in way before that. I'll be honest. I think no, like not in that it was way. I just remember Callum recommending me a Homesick Terranian Blues for the first time. You know, a few months back, which I highly appreciate. But what I will say is, for me, Bob Dylan stands out lyrically and just like more than anything, as well as just like he almost set like the pavement for what music is like now today. He influenced the Beatles to write songs the way that they wrote it in the introspective manner. You know, it's just a well-known fact.
Can I just add something, Matchy?
Go for it.
He was the first one to introduce him to any sort of drug. So without him, we wouldn't have Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, exactly. Because they made that whole album under the influence of acid, I believe.
But we're not here to talk about the Beatles, so.
No, I know. Well, anyway, moving on. For me, to be quite honest with you, I was going to say Homesick Terranian Blues, and I was going to say Maggie's Farm. One song, however, that stood out to me was Outlaw Blues.
I like that one.
And especially, bear in mind, this song was recorded in 1965. The very last line of it says, I got a woman in Jackson, I ain't going to say her name. She's a brown-skinned woman, but I love her just the same. Now, to say that in 1965, it takes some bollocks. It takes some bollocks. And to be able, I think he performed, the first time he performed it was 2007, and even at that point it wasn't exactly accepted. He performed it in Nashville. I mean,
it shows at the time, even though it was obviously a lot more controversial back then, he was still a good lad at art, which is nice to see.
Mate, it's all throughout his songs. There's another one called Hurricane, and it's about a black man that was put in prison wrongfully. Yeah. And he even says he says a racist word, but in a weird way it's accepted because
it's the way it's the context. It's the context. Yeah.
But he's always been about anti-racism and all that type. His political views are just next level for the time that he was playing at.
Well, it's funny that you should mention context, because if context wasn't a thing with certain words, any person that's ever read like Tom Sawyer or To Kill a Mockingbird or Huckleberry Finn, they'd be labelled as a racist. But I think it's the way that he used it in that song that made it so powerful.
It really shocked me when I heard it, to be fair. But then I realised he's not using it in a provocative manner.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the name of the person put in jail was, Callum? I'm sure I've heard another.
I have no idea.
Is it Leonard something?
I couldn't tell you. I just know from the lyrics of the song.
There was like, obviously bringing back some I've already mentioned. There was a song by another one by Rage Against the Machine, which I think they were heavily influenced sort of with the themes of their music by Bob Dylan. There's a song called Freedom, and it's about a black man. I can't remember. He's called Leonard something. He was wrongly imprisoned for 20-something years, and that was in the 90s. And that song was called Freedom, which was written about him. So I
If
think
the listeners haven't realised, James likes Rage Against the Machine.
I was just going to say that James has been on his Rage Against the Machine recently.
No, I'm tying it to the discussion.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, moving it along. So yeah, that I'd say Outlaw Blues is probably my standout track, and personally, it's a weird one because lyrically, I'd probably give it a 10. Influence for music as we see it today, you know, through Beatles and countless bands after him, I'd probably give it a 10. As an album, though, I'm with James in the sense that it's not directly up my street. I can enjoy it. I can enjoy it in the sunshine, put it on, appreciate the lyrics. But as a day-to-day album, I probably wouldn't listen to it. However, despite that, I would still give it an 8.
8?
Yeah, I'd give it an 8 overall.
Fair enough. That's a solid album still, isn't it?
Bob Dylan's watching, but I don't know if he's alive, but I'm sure he'd be...
He's still alive.
He's still going. Yeah, he's still going.
He'd be thrilled about getting an 8 off that check.
Oh, I know.
So, obviously, when we're talking about an album from 1965, you guys, I'm talking about you three, have already given your opinion specifically, are more fans of old music as opposed to me and Luke. Now, obviously, we both like our old music, but I feel like
not as invested in it.
We're going to give them a contrast because of what we listen to. So go on, Luke. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I think you've probably nailed it quite a bit. Like, so I get told to listen to this album, and I'm thinking I've obviously heard of Bob Dylan, you know what I mean, but I've never listened to any of his stuff really. And I put it on. I was standing here with darts and put it on, and I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think I've looked into it on anywhere near as deep a level as used for you know what I mean?
Same.
I've just listened to it as music and that's it. Just
it's definitely a grower. It's a grower, isn't it? It's one that you need to give a few listens. They're often the best albums, the ones that take a few times.
Yeah, but I just listened to it for its face value, and like I said, I enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? It's, as you have said though, it's not obviously completely up my street, as obviously it's not. But no, I downloaded it, and I probably will be giving it a few more listens. Yeah, it's quite groovy. I thought it's easy. It's an easy listen. Do you know what I mean? It's easy to just sort of whack on and have a good time too. So I think the sort of two tunes stuck out for me. So one of them was Outlaw Blues, which is obviously just quite a popular answer I'm now learning. But the one after that On the Road Again, I thought, do you know what? I just thought that was proper a little head bopper when you just getting into it. It's really easy to get into. I really enjoyed that one.
I will say this, it's almost like innocent music, if you know what I mean. Like, it's really easy on the ears.
Is there?
Yeah.
It's just really
easy
pleasant.
Listening, isn't it? Yeah.
It's very upbeat in some songs as well. It's
like American country road music, isn't it? Country road.
But like I say, very, very easy listen, but enjoyable enough. You know what I mean? But out of 10, I'll probably say about an 8, because, like I say, for something that I've just whacked on and not really whacked on blind, and not really knowing too much about it, I did have quite a good time. You know what I mean? And did enjoy a fair few tunes on there. So yeah, that's that from me. What are you saying, Liam?
Now, obviously, as I said before, me and you were in the same boat, really, when it comes to music like this, Luke. Obviously, me and Luke prefer more modern music, but it's one of them. I'd have never put it on without having some sort of reason to, such as the podcast. You know, if we're talking about it, I'll listen to it.
Yeah. Same.
I listen to it all the way through, and obviously, I work out my car, don't I? So I have 7 hours a day, 4 days a week, just listening to music. So I've played it at least 6 times, the full thing through, and I thought it was good. It was you can see where his influence is at, just in his own music, as a whole. But I don't know. It's not my type of what I'd listen to. You know what type of music I enjoy, and so I think it was a good album. I think for my standout songs on it, no one's mentioned it yet. I mean, I like no one's mentioned it yet, but my favourite one was the final track on it, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue.
Oh, what a
And then
tune.
also Mr. Tambourine
Good
Man was...
shout.
Mr.
I think
Tambourine
Mr.
Man
Tambourine Man is probably the most infamous out of that album, I'd say.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that tune.
But like, yeah,
Yeah.
even when I put that on, that was the one out of there that I thought, you know what, I've heard this before. I thought I'd like heard of it before. But yeah, I thought they were the two best tracks on the album. But at the end of the day, it's not really something I'd listen to. They've been added to the playlist, but I'm probably not going to put the full album on.
You can't see yourself returning to it that often.
Yeah.
And so overall, because it was still good, I enjoyed listening. I didn't listen to it and think, God, can I turn this off? Shit. So I'd say I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Which for me,
7.
for music in the 60s, a 7 out of 10, I think is generous.
Fair. All right, that brings us to the end of that. Come back after the break where we discuss festivals. Cheers.
Sunglasses are covering my eyes. Reach on up to paradise. Reach on up to paradise. 20 in my pocket and I'm feeling fine. Push a little bit, do a couple of lines. A little bit of ink, but stay on my hands.
All right, and welcome back. In this half of the podcast, we're going to talk about festivals and obviously how the recent virus has postponed or cancelled many of the festivals and how that's going to affect the industry. I'd like to ask anyone if they've got any opinions on how festivals could come back from this.
Well, on the topic of festivals, I think this is the perfect time for me to come in. As you all know, festivals, you come out of there, you haven't made memories. You come out with having made love. You've come out maybe finding out some new bands. However, sometimes with love comes a few issues. And by issues, I do mean STIs. Now, as
Can I just say, you introduced this with the perfect time for you to come in here.
Yeah, I know,
Really?
I'm aware. I know.
What? So I can't say folks, but he can talk about this.
Right, well, settle down, Callum.
There's a difference.
Let me get into Polak Parkies this week. So as some
Hey,
of
we
you
need
know,
a jingle. We need a jingle.
well,
Like Porky of the week. Da, 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 da.
Cheers, James.
Cheers, James.
Over to you, Matt, for the Polish Poke of the Week.
After Leeds Fest 2018, the number of new STIs rose to 220 per 100,000 people in the UK. True or false?
From what? What did it rise from?
110.
So
Doubled.
Yeah, it literally doubled.
I feel like it's false because you would have said it doubled in the actual fact.
Right, okay.
I'm thinking, has he made up the fact completely or has he just changed the number? And I think he's just changed the number, so I'm going to go for false.
I think it's false.
I think it's true. I'm going to back you, Matt, so you better not let me down.
3-1 democracy says it's false. What is it? Is that fact, Matt?
No, it won't surprise me though, innit? Because they're all just fucking animals.
Well,
is that a Porky?
That is a Porky, but
wanker.
I would like to just say the part
Betray my
of that,
trust.
the part of that is true. It might not be true in regards to Leeds Festival, but in actual fact, Leeds has been the UK's #1 STI hotspot for the last 3 or 4 years. And in 2018, the number of STIs was 110 to 100,000 people. So yeah, there's a fun fact for you.
Convenient that Cal's going uni there.
So's Matt.
I'm going uni there as well.
That's what we like. Yes, please.
Anyway, moving on to festivals.
I enjoyed that fact. Cheers.
That was our brief Polish Poke of the Week. See you next week for the Polish Poke next week.
Yeah, so the first thing I'd like to bring us to is obviously we all had festivals we were looking forward to going to this year. But do we think next year's festival scene will come back stronger or do you think it'll suffer and come back weaker from the
Stronger,
lack of income?
110% stronger.
Elaborate on that. What makes you think
Because
so?
everyone will just be mad on it. And you say about
Higher demand for tickets.
a lot of
People will be
festivals,
willing to pay
they've
more.
they've not cancelled them. They've just said like this year's ticket will work for next year. So it's not like half them will still have the same.
The festival
people coming
season's
in the
been
money and all
cancelled,
that.
hasn't it?
But yeah,
So
but I think next year everyone will just be buzzing for it, won't they? So I think 110% it'll be stronger because I think more people will want to go because they didn't have the chance to this year. If you get me.
People seize the opportunity more because they didn't have it this year.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Leeds has a higher chance of actually selling out the camping tickets for once, just because so many more people will be mad for it. So many more people will be of that age where they're able to actually do that. Just think about
We're
that.
saying that, but it won't happen.
I don't know. You never know. You never know.
Leeds
Thing
next
is-
year, like Leeds 2021. You don't think
Yeah.
it'll happen?
Nah,
Oh,
it won't
wait.
go
Really?
on.
Oh, no, it means that they won't sell it, all the camping.
All right. If I meant they won't put it on.
Oh no, yeah.
The thing is, I'm not sure if they necessarily aim to sell it. Like, sometimes when a business is trying to make the most profit, they restrict the quantity of what they want to sell. Like, if the Leeds tickets were, let's say they were 160 quid instead of the 220 they are, it'd sell out, but would they make as much money?
That's an interesting point.
It's
But
an
why
interesting
wouldn't they just want to sell it out at 220 quid a ticket?
They can't. There's not enough demand for it at that price.
All
But
right.
But I get what you mean by saying next year the demand is going to be ridiculous for festivals.
Yeah, because we get all the people that
But
obviously they wanted to go this
naturally-
year. And then like to go next year. So.
Obviously, in the free market situation, that means prices go up to match that. So whether next year will we see, because that industry's had such a lack of income, will we see a price increase to cover that?
See, I didn't actually buy my ticket for Leeds, before all this stuff happened, because as usual you think, I'd probably get away with buying the ticket 2 months in advance, maybe even later, just because that's normally how it works with Leeds. But now thinking about it, I do wish I had done, because I don't know by how much. If they do increase, I don't know by how much and how much more I would.
It's about a £5 a year. It's not.
Do you reckon?
I don't reckon they'll increase price anything to do with what's currently happening and rescheduling, because Leeds is, because it's such a big festival in the UK. It's it kind of got a staple price to it, hasn't it? So I don't think this is going to cause it. Whereas a smaller festival might change that.
You'd say that. I'd say with Leeds, it's not really got that. It has steadily increased. It was 80 quid 15 years ago.
Yeah, they're not
has it.
To
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean. It's at the premium end. It's for a festival, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So if they increase it much more, it could put people off, and they think, right, I'll go somewhere else. It's not worth it.
They'd lose a lot of people if they put the price up.
I think it's the question of pushing it as it is, to be fair. It's a lot of money in it.
Yeah, it's the question of, let's say they put the price up 10%, would they lose more or less than 10% of business? If
how much would 10% be on 220 quid? 242?
Yeah, but no, it's the idea. Do you think they'd sell more or less than 10% less tickets if they increase the price by 10%?
Well, I think if you put it in that way, and
that's the theory.
It seems a lot more. At the end of the day, it's an extra if the maths are right, I don't want to be a match Polish pork here, but it's an extra 22 quid. You know what I mean? So it's if you say to someone, it's an extra.
I agree.
4 hours work on minimum wage if you're 18-ish. Again, we're making up bad stats. 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, that's
about a day's work.
Yeah, it's about right.
They're probably still gonna, you know what I mean? They're probably still gonna do it.
I mean, at the end of the day,
it's
still 220 quid anyway. So an extra 20 quid on top of that's not really going to make a massive difference.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Can I also reiterate that I know only 3 out of the 5 of us on here have ever been to Leeds Fest, but I'd say you're paying 220 quid for one of the best weekends of your life. Yeah. So when you put it in a perspective
we'll get on to this. There's not many things quite like it.
No, it's not. It's such a unique but brilliant atmosphere.
Yeah.
Saying that, though, do you reckon any of you will sign up for that ambassador thing, where it's you get certain points for trying to sell tickets through you?
Ambassadors.
It's oversaturated. There's too many people doing it, so it doesn't work.
100%.
Well, saying that,
try and be one.
I did, and funnily enough, there was a girl in work who said her and a few of her mates wanted tickets, and if they've got it through me, obviously they would be able to. And if I did the maths, if her and all the mates did actually get tickets through me, I would have been able to afford a full weekend ticket for myself, like
How
a
many
camping one.
people is that? How many people?
That's like seven or eight in total.
That's the
You want me to
most.
sell
That's the
7
most
tickets to get a free ticket? That seems
That's
too
yeah.
low.
match A way to get to a festival.
Yeah, man, obviously.
But I
Well,
know
yeah.
people who do it already, and it was some
It's
people who I
oversaturated.
met
Every
at
year, more
Leeds.
people.
It's people who I met at Leeds last year.
Yeah, I
And I know people doing it, and he said that he set it up last year, and they went with about 20 to 25 people, and he set it up, sold it to all his mates, and he was rolling in it because obviously he got that much for free because every single one of his mates bought it through him. He's doing the same, and he did it. He's then been like hired on the company Pollen to do it for loads of other festivals. He gets cheaper tickets for like Park Life, everything like that. And now every single festival his mates go to, they get it through him. So he's loving it.
For a free Park Life ticket, we will plug your Instagram if you like, if you're listening.
Oh,
Sure.
I know his Instagram. He's not listening to it, but I really doubt it. We barely know each other. I just spoke to him about it.
Fair enough.
They do
what-
pick out sometimes, all the
Yeah,
people.
I
on
agree.
Snapchat, I know
They're
you see it's like
Yeah.
HMU Park Life tickets, HMU Leeds Fest tickets, get on it. It's like,
See,
I
that's
understand when people are promoting their business or something, but this is promoting something you really don't need. You don't need a Leeds Fest ticket. I don't. If it's like someone's promoting their livelihood,
Speak for yourself.
I mean, what I did want to reiterate is that I don't think at any point I did actually put it up. Did I? I don't.
It was in
yeah,
your
you
bio.
did. You put it somewhere because I've seen it.
It's just
It was your
because you
bio.
tweet
Oh, right.
2,000 times a day. Probably most people probably didn't see it.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, no, I'm just. Apart from that, I was just asking, like, personally, if you know what I mean, just people that I knew. Do you need any? If you are going or whatnot? Because I feel like that's less annoying rather than just like making it so
yeah.
everyone's just like kind of seeing it on social media. Whereas if you ask, "Oh, are you going Leeds this year?" I was like, "Oh, I want to, but I don't have a ticket, whatnot." I feel like that's a different story.
So you know the people, I don't get it. So you know the people that buy it off you, do they get a discount? Have they got to pay full price?
Yeah, they pay a bit less. I'd say it's probably about 20 quid if that. But you know, it's always something.
All you lose is booking fees, and it's literally about 15 quid.
Yeah, it's better than now, isn't it?
Still,
Well, that's
See
what I
the
mean.
appeal.
But to be
crazy,
fair,
yeah.
if you're buying your Leeds Fest ticket from anywhere other than a second-hand site and getting it for about 50 quid cheaper, you're doing it wrong.
Because if something doesn't sell out, the idea is the price is too high, so people have to sell it for lower because that's
How much did we get ours for last year, James?
2
we
for
bought them off
350,
someone that went out
175 each.
Isn't bad.
I
That's a
got
good deal.
mine for 180 with the early bird.
That's a good deal. That's a good
Early
deal.
bird. Jeez.
180 with the early bird. That was
Alright.
about the same
Steal
price,
that,
but
20 quid for early birds.
Well, Liam, it's a good thing you got that early bird because it just means you got to experience an extra day. Considering you
I know, and I was
Yeah.
counting the days that weekend, wasn't I?
Alright, we'll get on to this next. What I'd like to take us to next is sort of the history of festivals and sort of important festivals in the last 50 or so years and how the industry's changed over then. I know, Callum, you know quite a bit about Woodstock Festival in America, so why don't you get us started on that?
I'll stay quiet. I ain't got a clue. Go on, Cal.
It's probably one of the most infamous festivals of all time. 1969, I think it was. Had some of the biggest names of rock and roll that have ever existed, and it was a free festival. I think it was around 400,000 people attended. People died, people were born, everything.
You know it's a good do when people die. I'm sorry, I can't say that.
So there's a lot of
When
controversy.
people are born.
A lot of controversy, a lot of good things, but I think festivals now completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's more limited. Well, it's a lot more toned down. First of all, there's a lot more focus on the whole safety of it. You know, you wouldn't catch Showsec back in 1969. You know, gripping up at any kid with a flare.
Just Hell's Angels back in.
You say this actually. What I'd like to speak about is, I think it was 1991. It was the first westernized style concert in Soviet Russia. and it was Metallica. It was Metallica, and
That
there
would have
was
been amazing.
A million
think-
people.
yeah, that was a free concert as well. There was 1.1 million people there.
Jesus.
50 people died at that. It was
bad.
sort of got out. Yeah, it was bad and out of control.
Where did it fit 1.1 million people?
It looked like a desert.
I think
maybe.
it was on an airfield or something.
Yeah.
But it was I remember I've seen videos of it on YouTube, and like you say about the security and show sex at current festivals, they had military. There's like helicopters flying over and stuff. And
Have you
The
seen
people at the back here, do you reckon?
No, probably not.
But the people start moshing and stuff, and the military don't know what's going on at the start, and they start hitting them and stuff. It's quite scary, actually.
Have you seen that military guy that whips his jacket off and starts swinging it around his head? There was one of them, didn't it? It was it's funny. Yeah, it's
I'd love to see Metallica. I like them.
quality, mate. But yeah, those massive festivals are just a recipe for disaster. Them, like, if you have that many people pushing forward, people are going to die.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the main things with Woodstock.
It was too much, too many. That's the thing with a free festival. You've got to, if it's something that's got to be free like that, you've got to say it's free, but only.
You're saying it's too much, too many, but you'd still go if you could go back in time.
Yeah, that's yeah, obviously, but that doesn't mean it's not dangerous.
I know what you mean, but I'm just saying.
I'd risk it.
That's still gone.
Historic festival.
Obviously, Glasgow's been cancelled this year and it's 50th year, but I think there was some good names on there, and I have a lot of time and respect for them investing in female.
Who was it again?
acts.
Paul McCartney.
Yeah, I'm getting on to this. Yeah, the headliners I thought were quite disappointing. It was McCartney, who, I don't know, not for me as a...
You're going for the Beatles, aren't you?
I feel bad for this, but Paul McCartney's a bit washed up now. He just needs to cut that.
100%.
If Leeds had the chance to get... I mean, not Leeds, sorry. If Glasgow had the chance to get Rage, they should have got Rage. They shouldn't have let Reading and Leeds get Rage. They'd have been such a better headliner than McCartney. Taylor Swift, I think, would have been a brilliant headliner in about 2015 because she had some Red in 1989. I really rate as albums, but since then I don't think.
Obviously, with Taylor Swift, everyone takes the mick out of her. She's got the most basic like pop top 40 music you can get.
No,
I'm involved. I'll take the mick out of her. I'll take the mick out of the music. But if she was at Leeds Fest and I had a Leeds Fest ticket, I would go and see her.
It is a good listen, isn't it?
It's one of them, isn't it? I've never bought a ticket for a concert of her, but if she's at Leeds Fest, I look at the stage and I think, yeah, go on then.
Yeah, but this is my point. All of her good songs were from 1989 or Red, which were like 2014, 2013.
I mean, I'll take your word for it. I'll be honest, because
I'll stand by it. I think they're really good pop albums, and I'll say that even if it's a commercial artist like that.
Fair enough.
And then Kendrick would have been really good as a headliner. Yeah. I've seen him at Leeds, and he was good, but his set was too short. That's the only thing I'd say.
I feel like a lot of rappers get cut short in general, don't you think?
No,
or they just do short sets.
It's them by choice. The thing is with rap live, it's good, but it can't hold out as long as a band. After an hour of rap, you've had enough. And the weirdest thing I've seen, when I saw Travis Scott, I've never seen this before. What most artists, bands, whatever, do when they play a festival and they've got a short slot, they cut songs out, they play less songs. But I don't know whether this is something Travis Scott did for the festival or if he does it at all his own shows. But he was cutting the songs short. He was playing about a minute and a half of each song and then just stopping it and then playing the next one. And it was really strange.
That sounds really good.
I can respect Travis Scott. I can respect Travis Scott as a performer. He's got good energy. But I don't know. Things like that I just didn't understand. It's a good crowd, but I don't rate him personally. I don't see his appeal.
See, I've seen performances from like the Astroworld tour, and it looks insane. But what you just described there, it sounds utter shite.
No, this is my argument. You can have a good crowd without it being a good live performance. They're two completely separable things.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
You can be a really good live band, and that doesn't mean the crowd's always jumping about and going mental. That's not always what it is.
Can I just contribute? I think I speak for Luke as well. I wouldn't watch him if he was in my back garden. I'd shut the curtains.
Yeah, exactly that.
If he's in my back garden, I'd shut the curtains.
I'm thinking, like, rap, I don't think it's ever replicated. Like, you know, you listen to the album, yeah, it's good. But I don't think that sound could be replicated on stage.
Yeah. I thought this, like, guitar music was played live and then was converted to record to be sold to people. Hip hop was made as a recorded genre, and then it was sort of tried to adapt it to sell it as a live setting. It wasn't designed for that.
I'm not saying
it was adapted for that.
But
the only way I'm going to... Sorry, go on, Callum.
I'm just saying, like, whenever I hear rap music, I think it's good. And then when I see him performing, I'm like, you aren't talented. Like, the recording studio does so much for so many rappers. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'd say the only two rappers that I'd stand for being live performers, and I think you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Slow Tie because I saw him live, and the energy was absolutely mental the whole way through.
Didn't he spit in a girl's mouth? Dirty bastard.
Yeah, one of his shows.
He is absolutely.
This is why I mean there's good energy at rap shows. They just do a lot of shouting, and the actual performance leaves a lot to be desired. And after half an hour, 40 minutes, I thought,
I mean,
I'd rather go see something else.
Me personally, I love this performance. And one other rapper that I did love was that I've seen. I've seen videos of Denzel Curry, and I think
I
a few
Denzel
of our
Curry,
mates.
to be fair. I really
He's
like
amazing.
him.
He's honestly like his songs pop off, and we've got a few mates that have seen him live. But yeah,
I think the only
again, me and Liam not got much to contribute on that one.
Yeah. I'll fall
just happy to be here, boys. Happy to be here.
Wake me up when we're talking about someone else.
We're talking about dark fruits.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think the only rappers that I've ever seen that are actually good live are Wu-Tang. I've seen some of their performances online and that, but they just look
I'd love to see Wu-Tang live.
To be fair, Post Malone's headline set at Leeds last year was really good.
See, he's a bit different from all the other. He genuinely
he's not hard rap, is he? He's more of a singer.
I rate him,
I'm a big Post.
I love him, mate.
Yeah, I do. He just seems like
you're
such a sick
mentioning
guy
all
as
these
well.
names, but you're not mentioning the King H, his name.
Oh.
They're not ready. Not ready.
They're not ready.
You've seen his live performances. He doesn't even rap. It's just his bloody song playing on a big stereo.
Mate, don't chat shit about H, mate. H, me and H.
Right.
Oh, tell you what,
all right, now, I'd like to take...
really like.
Liam, you mentioned dark fruits there. Now, the dark fruits drink, it contributes to a lot of... I think a lot of people would say they relate if they smell dark fruits, think this smells of festivals or gigs. What would you like to take us back to? Like, what story comes to mind when you take a sip of dark fruits?
Oh, blooming heck! I mean,
You got any good festival or gig stories for us?
I mean, if you're asking me about festival or gig stories, it's a case of where do I start, because I can't go to a festival and just be normal. Apparently,
No. Mr.
The watermelon man comes out.
The watermelon
Mr.
man. Just for all the listeners, you can see pictures of this on my Instagram at Liam's Album Fruit.
Hey!
And then I wore a full watermelon outfit on Saturday of Leeds Fest. And just
Friday.
so you know where this story's going, that was my final day at Leeds Fest. And it was watermelon shorts, and so just all the shorts were watermelon. It was a watermelon shirt and a watermelon bucket hat. And on the only thing apart from watermelons on it was on the bucket hat, I had a little tag on the front that said fruity. And I wore this velvet, and obviously it's just like, wear something like that, like, a bit weird as a laugh because it's a festival and you're drunk, all this, have a laugh. And it was a case of like, I was getting a lot of attention, and we
all know Liam, he hates attention, he can't stand it.
Oh no, I hate it awful. Don't give me any of it, not at all. But I was going, it was on the way back from Wombats. Went back just to see one of our mates who was there with us back at the campsite. One thing led to another, and I'm not going to drag this story on for ages. Me and about 25 other people were throwing things at another campsite, just having a laugh. You know what? It was literally just like
that was Cookie Crisp.
Liam, when you say other things, can you go into? Can you specify
the specifics, please?
So, if you want specifics, full bottles of water, full bottles of piss, tents, chairs.
All tents.
Mate, it'll have been that single tent, the one that was in the walkway from the
camp
behind us.
Yeah. It was, what do you call, you know, like a big gazebo. You know, people were literally ripping the gazebo down and lobbing the pieces.
Yeah.
You know, the big metal poles.
All this was going on, literally. No sides were trying to hit each other. Everyone was pissing themselves at each other. And there's a massive crowd just grouped around watching, about 100 people watching. And someone goes, "Hey, Liam, stop!" And as they say stop, I'll lob a bottle of water that's about a quarter full. So you can throw a bottle of water quarter full at anyone on the head and it won't even hurt them. So I just threw it and it didn't hit anyone. And I turn around and I look and I think, that's probably why they said stop. As the 6'7" stocky security guard parades over to me, grabs me by the arm. Got
a secure old sec. Oh.
Yeah, show set. Grabs me by the arm and says, "You're coming with me." I was like, "Oh, I've not done anything." You know, you start. As soon as he grabs your arm, I was like, "No,
I'm only a young boy."
Anyway, I just watched you throw that. I went, "Nah, you're lying, lad." And then he went, "Shut up." One thing led to another. I'm in the Leeds Fest eviction.
Oh, did you not get in that prison where it just falls over the walls?
Yeah.
I know which one you mean.
Were you in that?
That's one stage of it. But
I'd love to be in that.
Can I just put the picture in your head? There's loads of random people and Liam just there, still in a full watermelon outfit, just minding his own business.
And so and they fully have it. It's just a big gazebo with a heater, a portable heater in it, and a desk. And all they do on the desk is make you write down your details and they take a picture of you. And this was called the eviction tent. And it's like, they make it sound like it's like, oh, they're bad, the eviction tent. Place. It's just a gazebo with a heater. So I'm in this eviction tent. Oh, I've never had a more awkward call in my life. Obviously, they said to me, "How old are you?" I went, "I'm 17. They went, "Right, well, you're 17, so we're not, because you're not 18, we're not allowing you to just leave on your own. Because you're 17, you have to have a guardian come pick you up." God, stood in the corner of this gazebo. "Dad, you come pick me up." What do you want? I thought you were at that festival." I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm at a party. Why?" I went, "You come pick me up." He went,
"From Leeds."
Oh, it was
from Leeds, yeah.
We're not going to go into any more details about the phone call, but basically Kev was literally seconds away from picking up the first drink that he had at a party. He came and picked me up, and I get walked over by a security guard next to me, who had been talking to me for about half an hour, and really was like, he was really sound. The one who first grabbed me was and the first one was really sound, grabbing me. He wasn't grabbing me, sorry, he was just like walking me over, and he was talking to me for about half an hour, dead nice lad, saying that he was like, "Oh no, I don't think you should have been kicked out for it. All you did was throw a bottle." I was like, "Yeah, nice one. Can you tell your boss that?" And he was like, "Nah." He literally walked me over to my parents. He was like, "Yeah, no, he's been sound. An hour journey home from Leeds, in the back of the Leeds car, genuinely felt like 3 years. Was
that were any words said, or was it just silence?
It was kind of like it wasn't silence.
The odd muttering of small talk.
It was kind of just like, I can't believe. And
not again, Liam.
They dropped hints, my mum and dad. I know my mum and dad are listening to this, and they're probably laughing about this. They were dropping little hints about like I'd ruined their night, because obviously they were at a party.
We're not angry. We're just very, very disappointed.
It was like that, James, and it was like they were just saying stuff like, "Oh, I bet Eddie's wondering why we've just left the party." I was like, I'm just sat in the back thinking, "Oh God, right, okay."
Yeah. Still in his watermelon outfit.
Yeah, still in the watermelon outfit. And I got kicked out. They wouldn't even let me go and get any of my stuff. They wouldn't let me dad go into the campsite get any of my stuff. I had to get out one of our mates at the camp, Sam. Big shout out to Sam, to go and pack all my stuff away for me. And then bring it down to me, like give it to a security guard to bring to the eviction tent. But yeah, that was it. That was my story.
Can I
My
stop you?
biggest festival story.
Before we move on to the next person, can I have a moment of silence for Liam's trolley?
Oh, my mum said
While most of his stuff made it out alive, the trolley didn't.
On Wednesday morning, when I set off from Manchester Victoria train station, my mum said, "If there's one thing you bring home, make sure you bring home that trolley."
He left.
That's so funny. Just
trolley.
You walking into Victoria with that trolley, all those are there, like massive fucking bags.
I've got a trolley.
What was it? Like two crates of Carlin and a crate of Darcy.
Crate of Stella.
Also, rest in peace to the beer Liam tried to take in.
In case anyone was asking, it actually didn't get in, so that's another story.
So yeah, I have suspicion that trolley's still on Bramham Park. But
Some say he's never going
to be in a landfill somewhere.
I can't just drag my individual story on for any longer. Is anyone else got any good festival stories? Anyone want to suggest themselves?
I mean, right, as you all know, I've never been to a festival yet. You know, I've been I've always wanted to go Leeds, but just never had the chance. I've always been on holiday. But one story that does spring to mind now, obviously, all of yous were there at Cortina's Heaton Park. It was
what a day.
It was an interesting do, to say the least.
I never saw you that day. I never saw you. I saw you.
Liam, I saw you in the distance on someone's shoulders. That's about it. That's all I remember from that night. To be quite honest with you, I don't remember a lot of it. But a lot of things happened that day. Starting off with the barrier, which Luke can also tell you a bit about.
I'll talk about the barrier. It's a fucking whole different story by itself. The barrier. Gee whiz.
Trust me. I mean, that was
episode about Securosec.
The purple jackets, the big bosses.
Well, boys, which one do you think I should tell? About the barrier or about the phone and the beer bottle mix-up? The phone? All right, we'll go with the phone. So, as I already mentioned, I drank a fair bit that day, and by a fair bit, I mean an absolute shit ton. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was a lot. So we finally made it into the front pit, and by finally, I do mean getting past the barrier with a bit of help from
after a lot of graft.
After a lot of graft. So this is about halfway through the do. I'd say that this was probably about end of James's performance.
Which was bloody.
Thanks for that. I thought I have a bit of a confidence issues with my performance.
You funny, right? Shut up. Anyway. Anyway, so at this point,
you'll get sin-binned.
So at this point, I can't deny I'm absolutely out of my mind. Like, I'm unbelievably drunk. So I look down and I see my feet just about, and I see that my laces are undone. So I crouch down.
Generally, what happens when you look down, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, precisely. But you know, this was a rare feat for me at this point. So I look down.
Hey, rare feat.
Funny. Crouch down, do up my laces, and in my mind, I see an empty beer bottle. So I pick up the empty beer bottle and chuck it into the crowd. For whatever reason, you know, it's just something that you do absolutely off it. And then a few minutes later, I search my pockets for my phone. Oh, I can't find my phone. I wonder where it is.
That was.
What a phone! It was a burner.
Oh, did you? By the way, did you actually lose it on that day?
Yeah, I lost it that day.
Did it stay there? I couldn't remember found it.
Yeah, I could never find it. I tried ringing it. It never answered. But yeah, so long story short, I'm there searching for my phone in my pockets, and I'm there asking a few people around, and suddenly, I can't remember if I don't think it was one of yous. It was one of our mates, so just a randomer, and I'm there like, oh, has anyone seen my phone? And one person just like stops me and says, yeah, I saw you throw it. And I'm like, what? I was like, yeah, I saw you throw your phone into the crowd. I'm like, nah, I didn't. You're lying. I went, yeah. You crouched down, took your phone out of your pocket and threw it into the crowd. I went, nah. And then it all kind of like hit me at once. It was kind of it was kind of painful. I mean, it was a burner, so it wasn't too much of an issue. But
I think a burn is an overstatement, mate.
I mean,
it was burnt.
Saying that though, thanks to the power of alcohol, I could, you know, for my whole life, I could never remember my mum's number. By the end, you know, someone hands me the phone, I type in the first digits that come to mind, and lo and behold, my mum's on the other end. So, you know, it's not all doom and gloom. But yeah,
on the topic of that gig,
well.
I've never had a more grim walk home from a concert. Absolutely caked in mud. A certain man who won't be named left his crusty socks in my porch.
I prefer not to speak.
You can vouch for me there. Noel Gallagher the week before was much worse.
Oh, Gallagher, mate, I was soaking wet through it.
It was like Tina's, but chucking it down like 4 times as much as
He would charge you like £3 for a bottle of water in that Chinese.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone was kicking off of the guy in the takeaway. Oh, it was just Tina's was a lot more eventful for web-wise.
How long did that minibus take to get there?
Yeah, everything about that. It was just carnage.
All right, go on, Luke. What you've got to say? Wait, your story.
So I'm going to take it back here, boys. I'm going to throw it back to Leeds 2018.
Straight from results day.
The summer of the results day. Get the results in the morning, order a Domino's, get off to Leeds. What a day. So me and James, bit of context, we camped with my brother Kyle and then a few, I think 3 of his mates. Which weren't the, and it was Simon was with us as well.
It wasn't even planned, that was it?
So, yeah, that wasn't even planned, but we just got there and I bailed him, and then he just says to his face near us if you fancy.
Because it was going, we got there on the Thursday, it was absolutely packed, wasn't it?
Under rest, because it's like Thursday, 2 o'clock.
You've got to get there on the Wednesday to get a decent spot, really.
So, podcast tip of the week: if you go in Leeds Fest, go on the Wednesday. Pay that £20, it's worth it. Carry on, Luke.
Yeah. So anyway, James, I'm going to need a bit of help here. What night was the Captain Morgan night?
That was the Saturday, mate.
Right, so he gets to the Saturday night, and for some reason, James thinks it's, you know, like, you do the dance, don't you, really? You bring a few crates, probably a couple bottles of
spirits in plastic bottles as well.
But Captain Morgan was on the agenda for James, which I still don't know why, but anyway, we moved. So he brings this like sort of 2 litre bottle.
It's a litre of Captain Morgan.
It's a litre in a 2 litre bottle of Captain Morgan. So anyway, he brings that, and anyway, it gets to Saturday night, and we're off down to Piccadilly.
Like a DJ set thing.
James, if you don't, it's DJ set. So James thinks, you know what, like, he brings his Captain Morgan. Anyway, James, you know what, I'll give him his credit. He went through it. I'll tell you that, he went through it.
A good like 2/3 of it was seen off, wasn't it?
Oh, it was fucking vile, lad. So anyway, James is sort of drinking this anyway. Anyway, as some of you may know in the car, or may know outside of the car, James, when he's had a beer, he gets a bit of a twat when he wants to. So, no offence, James, lots of love. So anyway, so I think to start, all of us were just at Piccadilly, and then James is just doing a James, just been there.
Was that being a dick, or was I just being stupid? Wait, well, like nasty?
No, not that. You've just been annoying. Like, you've just been like, you've just been like,
just being drunk.
You had a Captain Morgan, like a lot of Captain Morgan.
Not doing anyone any harm, but just chatting shit. That sounds about right.
So anyway, you fucked off somewhere into Piccadilly, so all of us are left, and like we sort of say, so I was foot back off to stay here for a bit, then foot back off to camp, because there was like a burger van there.
I know what's coming. I've only just realised.
Burger van near where we camp. Do you know what? Do you want to just go back for a bit and just have a few drinks around the fire, because it's getting on at this point. And anyway, so we go back to camp, and then me and my brother Kyle, we think, you know what, could do a bit of scranny, a bit hungry. So I walk over to this burger van. And then I think I get some chippies, and then Kyle gets burger and chips. But this is a Saturday night, so resources are low. Well, resources are low. So Kyle gets this burger and chips, whatever. And then he goes put some tomato ketchup on it. Anyway, to cut the bollocks, he had no tomato ketchup.
Bit of a foot. Oh.
So this is a crucial part of the story, because it makes it 10 times worse. So Kyle decides that he's going to put mayonnaise on the burger, which personally wouldn't be a go-to of mine.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a go-to of mine, but anyway.
Not that one to speak.
While we're doing this, match it be all over that.
Match it.
Yeah, I love it, me.
While we do, while we're doing this, I think James turns up again and he sees us and then he fucks back off, just doing the rounds.
I don't know what was going on.
Anyway.
I remember I was sat with all I remember is I was at Piccadilly and then I was sat on the hill with 3 girls from Chorlton and then then we get back to when I got back here.
Fucking pussy magnet, mate. So so we get back to so yeah, we see James again, then we all go back to camp, so all of us start to camp apart from James. Then James turns up again, fuck knows where he's been. And as I say, he's had a bit. Kyle's only just made his way through the chippies, I think, and he's got a burger to tackle. Anyway, James turns back up to camp. I think Kyle got up for a second. I can't remember why he got up. Oh no, Kyle got up because he seen you fucking stumbling back to camp, and I think he tried to take a bit of authority because you were just you couldn't stand, man. So he's tried to help you. You've got to put yourself in Kyle's seat. Kyle was sat next to where he's laid his burger and chips and mayo. And you see, Kyle's gone and tried to get your water out his tent, and while he's done that, you chunned it in just where this seat is, just in front of you, right? So Kyle returns to his seat, gives James a bottle of water, and fucks him off to bed. And James has gone to his tent to go kit, and Kyle sits down and he's greeted by his burger and about probably 30 centimetres away from it, a chunder, so obviously he's not feeling it. So what he does is, I think he chucks a little piece of cardboard over
There's a full monster crate on top of the burger in its packet.
So this is subject to change. So anyway, he puts a piece of cardboard over the chunder, and then he just picks up his burger and he's like, there's fucking no chance, puts it back down, and whatever happened there happened. So they'll kit, whatever. Wake up in the morning, and me and James are the only two up. At this point, James is definitely still pissed. So we sort of just do the rounds, sort of let on. Anyway, from my tent, I open a little tent door and I see James, and I see this burger just lay next to his tent, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. So I say to James, I dare you. Just have a bite of that. I said, have a bite. It won't be bad. He said, no chance. So I say, all right. So then I leave it a minute and I say, James. He's just like, I said, have a bite of that. I said, it'll be fine. It'll taste just exactly the same, whatever. He's still been pretty resistant, but it's cut the bollocks. I asked enough times, and as all usual know, the James type of rule, if you ask enough times, you'll give in. So,
what you mean, peer pressure?
And pretty much. And I've got a video on my phone somewhere of James having a bite of this 12-hour-old mayonnaise, soggy, cold beef burger, and he will try and tell you now.
I'll defend myself.
I meant a monster box over it, and there wasn't. So don't believe the lies.
The one thing that is false about your statement is the burger was dry. It was old, it was mayonnaisey, and it was disgusting. I'm not defending myself, but I wouldn't have eaten it if the bread was wet. That's where I draw the line. Listen, know I'm
mate,
grim, I'm not
pissed,
soggy
mate.
bread.
You were pissed.
I wasn't soggy bread. I wouldn't. No, it wasn't soggy bread.
Yeah, I know what Kyle's like.
Regardless, though, James,
You just find it on the floor in someone's tent.
No, I'm not denying I am a disgusting human being.
Very close to your chunder from the night before. Mate, I had. But that was my personal favourite story because it was so funny. Such a James thing to do.
I've got a couple of things. I've got one long story, but I'd like to add 2 things that are just 2 little simple things that I look back on with pleasure. And one
James,
thing isn't... Yeah.
Can I just ask, does this reference the video that you posted on Twitter a while back? Oh my God, what a story.
That's the long story. So the first thing is just a moment. It was a Sunday night, which my mates have never quite made it to. So only me who can speak on this.
Which Leeds Fest is this for the people listening?
No, this isn't a specific moment. This can apply to either. It's just a point.
Right,
it's on the Sunday night. You've been at the headliner, and then you come back to your tent. You just chill for a bit, sort of get your bearings, get some drinks ready and stuff before you head back out. And you come back out, and it's a beautiful sight. There's tents and chairs flying everywhere. Things are on fire. There's this hill called Orange Hill, which just is majestic. and you see people flying down it like half naked on air mattresses, and just, I don't know, just that moment is when just having a moment where you just look around and think, you know what, this is really fucking good. This is all right, this. So that's one of the things. Another little story is, one's just little thing. On the way back from the toilet, so obviously you've got to take your own toilet roll because you never be too safe at these things. And for some reason, Luke thinks it's a good idea to just drop his toilet roll, drop kick it, and just volley at his eyes.
So I had it in my head, right, that I was going to like drop it.
Yeah. And it was going to go flying through the sky.
This is golden.
Realistically, what happened?
Because we all know that Luke Smith left foot is fucking lethal.
We're on a very busy path. It's like the main path going through a campsite. And there's probably about old man, I'd say, from the foot that the toilet roll left, I reckon his face was about 6 foot away. And this Luke got a really good connection on this toilet roll. And it just went absolutely flying right into this man's face. And you just heard such a sound. And the man, I don't think he saw the funny side. I think he was quite an old gentleman. And he just he looked really deeply sad in his eyes. And Luke felt so bad he didn't even turn around to say sorry. So
I couldn't look the man in the
I had to turn around, and I turned around on his behalf. Went, "You all right, mate?" And he just gave me a look as if I'd just told him that his whole family's going to be sent.
Moral of the story there is: don't go to Leeds Fest if you don't want toilet roll kicked in the face.
I went in the wrong. You just got to expect them sort of things.
On to my main longer story.
My perspective of that, I wasn't there, but I was just at the campsite, and I remember being sat there, just as you do when you're at the camp, with a can in your hand talking to everyone you're with. And I just saw both of them, James and Luke, come back, pissing themselves, absolutely dying.
There was someone else with us, but I can't remember who it was.
You could tell between the two of them, you could barely breathe. I was like, I was looking at it, it's like, what's just happened? And then it took about an hour to get the story out of you that Luke had just booted a toilet roll at an old man.
So bad.
Yeah,
and
so...
it's just one of them things, you never forget the look on your face. It's like,
if you're an old man that was at Leeds Fest and got booted in the face with toilet rolls, I was sorting it orange shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right, what I'm going to say, this is the long story now, so... Picture the scene. It was we're running out of time. So it was the Wednesday, and I think did we get there at about midday? That's when we set up, wasn't it? Because something like that. We got like a 9 a.m. train.
We got
from
there as early as
Manchester.
we could. We got there at about 12:31.
It was a good effort. We got a good spot. Then we sat down. It must have been about 25 degrees. We just sat down and started drinking at midday, and I made the mistake of not eating all day. So that's the first thing you need to know about this story.
I know what's coming here.
It's very important. I'll open up to the full story. It's not my proudest moment, but on the whole thing is funny. So it must have been about 9 or so. As the sun's going down, there's a big crowd of people on the other side of Orange Camp, and I want to go investigate what's going on. Like, there's tons of people over there. So I go over. And it's proper good, to be fair. There's loads of people there. It's a bit of a party. We're all having a good time. And then everyone goes down to Piccadilly. And then we're all just there. There's no one on. Everyone's just having a good time. And then all I remember is getting back to my campsite. And my friends say, "James, where have you been?" And I go, "What? I've just been around there, been down to Piccadilly." They go, "You've been gone for 3 hours?" And I go, "Are you sure? That doesn't seem right." And they say, "Yep, you've been gone for 3 hours." And we'll go back in time now.
No, he didn't say it as light-hearted as, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, we'll go back into hindsight. What I'd actually been doing, I'd say an hour, not knowing, because I'd obviously, back to the fact that I've not been eating, I've been drinking for 10 hours. I'm not in a good way. I'm Captain Morgan, shall we say. And I must have been lucky, because obviously it's first day camping in a new campsite. I didn't fully know my bearings. So I was walking around the campsite for a long time trying to find where we were. And it comes out, I think it was quite literally 7 days later. I was with Mache. I was looking through my phone videos. I thought, hang on. And there's just a video of a man talking to the phone. I go, he's just saying, "You've just sat down in our camp and fell asleep. And he just flips the phone round, and I'm just there, passed out at about 10:30.
It's so random as camping chair.
No idea who he is. But what I will, and to be fair play to them. They probably did me well, looked after me.
From what I know,
just had my phone and sent me on my way.
They charged up your phone and then left a little video message for you.
They didn't charge it off, but I think I'd left it unlocked in my hand and it was going to die. So they just made sure it wasn't going to die.
Fair enough.
Then essentially, I get back. I don't know what day it is. I bought a new speaker purposely for the festival. I bring it with me, which probably was a mistake. Let's just say I've had better days, and I started kicking off with my friends, like, where the fuck's my speaker? Like, what's fuck's going on? Who are these Geordies, and what have they done with it?
No, not the Geordies.
No.
You mean the mank lad in the call, Luke Smith? You screamed that.
No, to begin with.
And to reiterate, that Luke Smith would have kicked your head in if it wasn't for me.
Well,
not necessarily. We'll never know. We'll never know.
I think it would have been an
mate,
even
don't
fight.
fucking test me. No, I'm joking.
But I like to think that I handled it well the next day. I just came out my tent, apologised straight away for having a bad day, and laughed about it ever since. I like to think. So
and everyone lives happily ever after.
That was a funny morning.
My story is very, very short, boys.
Go on, Callum.
It's about Luke Smith at Neighbourhood Festival 2018.
Is it the bus?
It's the bus thing,
Smith. Here we go.
Oh, social butterfly over it.
Oh, fantastic.
So, basically, Neighbourhood 2018. All over.
Just a year 11 with about half a head trim back in the day.
Oh, mate. It was a good do.
One too many dark fruits, Luke.
Right. So, kicks off Warrington. Just after the gig had finished, we had a really good day. Walking back, getting ready to get on the coach again, right? Turns out the coach is fucked off with ours earlier than it should have done, and now we're just stranded in Warrington.
We're not happy.
We're really not happy. So we're going around all these buses, right? There's at least 20 buses there.
This was before we knew it had gone, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, this is, yeah.
And then we were trying to find out where it is.
Realised it had gone after someone told us. And then we're going around all these buses saying, oh, you're going to Manchester Piccadilly. Like, can we get on? It turns out pretty much all 20 of them were staff buses.
It wasn't.
For the staff for the festival for Neighbourhood Weekend.
Every single bus, Smith's getting increasingly more angry. Every single bus. And then the final one, he just snaps. He goes, is this a staff bus? And he goes, yeah. Every fucking bus is a staff bus. Next minute, I just see him punch off the wing mirror of the bus.
Can I just say, when you're at context of a festival, Luke gets annoyed because if he's been at a festival, he has the legs of about a 75-year-old after the main act is finished.
Yeah,
just give way.
At this point, I could barely fucking talk.
Well, we lay down on the floor with those DMA fans from bloody wherever they were from. Oh, and you were being a little social butterfly.
Oh, no, mate.
Oh.
Well, yeah,
that day.
Punched this mirror off, and this bus driver pops his head out. So then I have to step in, and Smith's like, shit. And we all
shit the bed.
Just probably one of the funniest things that we've ever done. And then we ended up just jibbing on this bus to Piccadilly, this double decker that we didn't even know we were supposed to be on or not.
It's on the job that today.
Can I just reiterate
how
bad Luke's legs are? That we went to Neighbourhood Weekend and it was all of our first festival. So we didn't really know how they worked. And so we turned up literally as it opened pretty much, didn't we? So we were there.
Oh, lad, we were there.
We were there for Spring Kings, the first band on.
Kings. Not even
split
band
up now,
anymore.
aren't they? Yeah.
So we were there all day, you can say. And I know Luke Smith and myself went on 2 breaks where we left all the crowds and just sat down on our own and lay there
I just needed a minute.
Oh, my legs are killing. And I was just going, like, one time I was like, you know what, I could do with a bit of a chill. But the second one, Luke was absolutely dying halfway through Smith's disco. Was it like our team?
Yeah, I was just fucked.
And he was there like, oh, I was like, right, I'll come with you. And we were both just sitting there, just listening to it from really far back.
It's pretty cute, to be fair, when you think of it. It's pretty gold, mate.
It reinforced our relationship.
I've got a story about that. You just reminded me, actually. If anyone was at Neighbourhood 2018, you'd know about the urinals that they have across the steel fences. You know,
just round the end,
just
round the
an
fences.
Absolute fraud to call himself.
Anyway, there was one guy absolutely pissed up, and this was like halfway through the day.
Oh, so, I know what you're on about here, actually.
Like rim. This guy, trying to have a piss, falls over and drags the entire urinal covered in piss. Funniest thing I've ever seen.
So imagine falling over, right, and to rescue yourself, like to stop yourself falling, you put your hand in the urinal full of piss. That is literally overflowing with piss.
Oh no!
And pull it on yourself.
Welcome to Warrington.
You there for that, Cal, and we were just watching him and just laughing our head off.
Mate, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen at a festival. That.
All right. Has anyone got anything else you'd like to add, or?
That's me done that.
All right, Luke, I'd like to, just to draw us to a close, would you like to hit us with this week's random question of the week?
I do love a question of the week, boys. So this week I've got a right treat for you. It's a question that lies pretty close to my heart because I'm very opinionated on this, but it's just a simple, a bath or a shower. What are you going for? Liam, a bath or a shower?
I mean, I can't say you'll all agree, but being 6'5", you don't really fit in a bath.
Mate,
that's when he's on his tiptoes, which is 90% of the time.
No. My dad measured me the other day.
Liam, mate.
Context, Liam Talbot.
Oh, no, you can't, James, no.
That was right there, Liam. Sorry.
Move it on.
So I'll always have a bath, me. No, have a shower, sorry. I hate the bath. It's the fact I'm literally like lying with my feet halfway up the wall. I might just have a small bath, to be fair. And the fact of, if you're a bit dirty and you're in a bath, you're lying in your own dirt.
There's not a statement that hurts me. It's not.
It's true, though. You're just lying in your own dirt and everything. It's like, hurts. And you get it out, plug hole. Stand up, you lazy bastard. I know that's why you do it, Luke. You want to sit down. Go on, then, Luke. You're very
well, I just think saying that a bath is lying in your own dirty water is like saying Oasis' best song is Wonderwall. It's just the go-to. It's just the basic bitch answer.
You could say the same answer. If you go, would you not go in the sea because it's full of animal piss?
Oh my God. Wait, the fish piss?
I know, but people do, and they swim in the sea as well.
Fine.
That's what
I'm not going to comment when I also piss in the sea.
Fish drink the water, or is that their breathing?
They breathe through the
question of the week, boys. This is not the question of the week, boys.
I'm getting back here.
So anyway, so as you know, a well-trained professional sportsman like myself, you know, my body's a temple. I do try and keep it the best no shape I can, as you can all probably tell. If I've been like
squashing frozen foods.
Sex, drugs, and Lancashire squash, mate. If I've been squash, and like after squash, I'm feeling a bit achy. You know, it's been a bit of a tough session. No better than getting in a hot bath. You know, getting a bit of Radox muscle relax or whatever you call it in it, and just lying back, chilling out, letting the bath do its work. You know what I mean? It just makes you feel refreshed. It makes you feel.
Gonna get your bath bomb for Christmas.
Oh mate, don't you talk dirty to me like that. I do love a bath bomb, but it's just undefeated. Just getting in a hot bath, sitting back, chilling out, putting some tunes on, maybe setting a candle or something if you want to set the mood. Not that I've ever done it, but yeah, no. And then you just, I don't know if it's a mental thing or if it's, you know, anything, but I just think
mentally cleansed.
It's just, yeah, and it's just, I just don't feel as achy after a bath. I just feel
you actually have got the body of a 75-year-old. Oh, proper achy.
I'm
getting rid of all my aches. That bath goes.
Honestly. But so yeah, I'm bath all day long. I think showers. You don't go in the shower and spend half an hour in the shower. If you do, you're a bit weird. That's
Cheers.
weird.
I've done that.
No,
I've done
weird.
it 20 times.
So if you're telling me that you go for a bath, like, and then a shower in the morning before college, and you'll just
Yeah,
spend
obvious.
half an hour in there.
Not for
That's
half
what-
an hour, 10 minutes.
If I get in the shower
Well,
in
in the
there 10
morning.
minutes max.
In
Yeah.
the
Depends.
morning, about 10, 15 minutes.
Before
max.
college, you're
But,
staying for half an hour, but on a weekend, if you got nowhere to be, I can see.
What do you do for
long,
15
relaxing
minutes
shower.
in the shower?
Scrub
Put
your
your
Moving
shoes
on.
you gotta prove it.
Moving on, Matt. What's your opinion?
Yeah, so I'm strong bath. Go on, Matty.
Right, so I'll put it this way. It depends. I normally, do you know what? I'm just going to go with shower. I do like a bath from time to time, but I have to say, Liam, I've seen your bath, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think even I would fit in there personally.
Mate, it's a small bath, innit?
I might just have
Yeah.
a small bath, to be fair.
No, but Liam, to be fair to you, I don't really fit in my own one. Like, it's not really comfortable. And
Yeah, you got a
personally-
weird bath, you lad. It's like a bloody pear shape.
Oh, I know. Wait, me or
Polish, innit?
Liam?
No,
It's not
you
Polish.
match it.
My bath's not a pair.
It's weird as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I prefer the shower because it's like, you know, you put everything on you and then you just rinse it off and you're not sat there. And I wouldn't have a problem. I don't have a problem with sitting in my own dirt, as some of you might have quoted. What I do have a problem is you get in, it's boiling hot, right? It's boiling hot. And then you sit in there for like 10, 15 minutes and suddenly it's too cold and you just sat there in lukewarm water. That's what I have an issue with.
No, yeah, that's it. That's a you
You've been in
problem,
there
that mate.
too long.
It's a you problem.
Nah.
That's
No,
a you
I-
problem.
If you're at one with a bath like me, then I don't get
If you're
that,
at
mate.
one with a bath.
Don't you, mate? I've got my experience. It's not my first rodeo. You know what I mean?
Go on then, Carl, what do you think?
I encounter the same problem as Liam. I'm quite a heavy set lad, pretty tall.
I'm
So,
not having set, lad.
No, not you. I'm not saying you're heavy set. I'm
Speak
just
for
saying.
yourself there, pal.
So I feel a bit claustrophobic in baths nowadays. Like, my legs are too long, they stick out at end, they end up bloody booting like the tap or something. So I don't like it. So I'm a shower man. It gets you clean, 10 minutes, bish bash bosh, wash your hair, you're done. You're sweet, you're fine.
Oh, it's just.
With a bath, my hair goes all greasy and that. Usually skinheads don't know, but because obviously all the oils and that in the water get in my hair and that, not good.
Well, what I will say is listening to music is more enjoyable in the shower as well because you can have a little boogie. Like, you
Yeah,
don't
you
have
can
to
dance.
deny it.
Yeah, if you have a
Exactly.
boogie in the bath,
Loving it.
if you have a boogie in the bath, you've caused a tsunami.
Exactly.
I would have a boogie in the bath. You're chilling out.
You have a boogie in shower.
We're not
Why
all
would
pro
I-
squash players, Luke.
Well, this is it.
Mate,
That is
Yeah,
temple and all
so-
that, you know.
strong believer in the shower. I'm going to move on to James here, if James hasn't answered yet.
All right, to finish it off, I think there is a strong argument for both. I think there's different appeals to both. If we're talking about getting clean, the shower wins all day long in every
Yeah.
aspect. It's
Easily.
fast, efficient. You put your mind to it when you're in
James,
the
what
shower.
about your
You get it
feet?
done quick.
What about your feet? In a shower, your feet get no attention. In a
Yeah.
bath, they get all of it.
Be for
Listen-
yourself, lad. I wash my feet.
I
wash
Yeah.
my feet.
Never.
disagree, but if in terms of relaxation and more enjoyable experience, I do like a bath every now and then. I can see the appeal. So,
I can't
you're
have you
like-
down as a bath now and again, lad, to be fair. So, you know.
With showers as well, I went through a phase of it must have been about a year and a bit ago now.
No, it's one of these edgy phases that you have in it.
Yeah,
Freezing
and,
cold showers, 100%.
Yeah, cold showers.
Oh, they're quality. They're quality.
I tried. They're actually very good.
In the summer as well.
Oh, they're the quality in the summer.
It's weird. It really wakes you up.
Oh, mate,
It
yeah.
sort of
nothing
gets
like-
you out of any drowsiness.
You don't sweat as much either.
Also, no, Callum, how funny how you said in the summer, it's actually better in the winter because, if you have a hot shower, your body temperature gets higher,
Yeah.
heats up.
Yeah.
So you feel cold when you come out. In winter, the
True.
cold shower, your body naturally heats up when you come out of it, and when you leave the house, you're warmer.
That's
So-
a good point.
All those arguments considered, I'm going
Right.
to go for shower. And on that note, I'd like to finish us off. Thank you very much, boys.
Probably a longer one this week, but
Enjoy.
Good
Thoroughly
time.
enjoyed that.
Cheers,
A
boys.
bit
Quality
more
episode.
lighter art thing from last week. Thanks to Cal,
yeah.
our editor.
It's what
Always
we
does a
need,
good
yeah.
job.
Yeah, cheers.
Nice
Not
one,
this
Callum.
Cal. This Cal.
No,
is
not
useless.
me.
All right. We'll see you all next week. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
In a bit,
Goodbye.
boys and girls.
Sunrise. glasses are covering my eyes, reach on